Is he going to be the most effective surrogate for Joe Biden?
I don't know if he'll be the most effective. He'll be obviously extraordinarily effective. And that emotion between them, I got to witness that friendship for 7 years, to see how close they were, to see the mutual respect, to see how much they support each other. Kailey, to see how much President Obama tried to do for, at that point, Vice President Biden when he was dealing with a very serious illness and then death of his son, Beau. Those things bond you in ways that it's hard for people to really understand. So I'm looking forward to tonight, and it will be, I think it'll be emotional.
Well, especially because we know that there has been some tension in the relationship, despite the ways in which they worked together for 2 terms. He did play somewhat of a role, according to reports, in pushing Biden out and making way for Kamala Harris. Do you expect he'll allude to that at all?
I don't know if he played a role there or not. What I do know is it's one team here. It's one family. His respect for President Biden, his respect for Vice President Harris couldn't be higher. The goal here is to win. We have a fantastic chance to win and to really help to preserve our democracy. And so I just think everybody's excited to be part of something that has a chance to really make history and preserve our democracy.
He was on the attack against Donald Trump at the last Democratic convention 4 years ago. Is that the role that he will play to free up Kamala Harris? Because Barack Obama and Donald Trump have a special relationship, don't they?
I don't know, again, whether he'll be the attack dog
you guys
or not.
don't talk about this over a beer?
I don't know if he needs to. The contrast is so clear here for the American public. People, it's 2 very clear choices. You got a, aging convicted felon who's angry and, trying to, figure out the past and continue to debate that. And you got someone with a lot of joy looking to move forward. And for me, the thing that hit last night was just the vibe, the positivity. And I think that's what the American people want. So for me, I don't know if anyone needs to be the attack dog. Let's just let the American public see the difference between these 2 candidates. One a convicted felon, the other a former prosecutor. Let them decide what they want to, who they think should lead the country forward.
Well, let's talk about their differences on an issue you know quite well as well. Education. This is something that actually came up when Donald Trump joined Elon Musk for an interview or conversation, however you want to call it, on X earlier this month about his plans for the Board of Education if he were to be elected. This is what he said.
We spend more per pupil than any other country in the world. So we spend more. And what I'm going to do, one of the first acts, and this is where I need an Elon Musk. I need somebody that has a lot of strength and courage and smarts. I want to close up Department of Education, move education back to the states, where states like Iowa, where states like Idaho, not every state will do great.
What would happen to education in America if that happened?
Well, I always say education should be the ultimate nonpartisan or bipartisan issue. We should be all in this together to have the best educated nation in the world. I say that a great military is our best defense, but a great education system is our best offense. And to somehow think we should just delegate that to everybody, that it's not an important, critically important federal role. Former President Trump rarely tells the truth, but I never forget he once said, "I love the uneducated." And the uneducated are more easily manipulated. And for him to really do whatever he can to not push higher education, to not push more early childhood education, to not pay teachers better and attract and retain great talent to our classrooms, he has no interest in any of that. Keeping people uneducated is actually very much part of President Trump's agenda.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you what, he's been talking a lot about your hometown lately and has been doing this for years, actually, comparing Chicago most recently to Afghanistan and citing 117 shootings in his news conference on the 4th of July. This campaign is trying to make crime a major issue here. The Trump campaign, he and J.D. Vance are both holding events about crime today and pointing to Chicago. And I talked about it earlier when we both sat down earlier today with Danny Wirtz. I bet you know pretty well, Chair and CEO of the Chicago Blackhawks. This is what he had to say, and we'll have you respond.
Crime has always been something that we've had to contend with and work with, but we also know that when we invest in the neighborhoods and when you invest in economic development, that is one way to help create opportunities that gets to sort of the root cause of some of the crime issues you see today. So I think Chicago has a history of really rolling up our sleeves and trying to be part of the solution.
How would you respond to that yourself, the issue of crime in the city and the image that Donald Trump is presenting?
It's an issue in every city. And I spent the last 8 years of my life here in Chicago working to reduce gun violence. So this is very, very personal. We've come a long way. We have a hell of a long way to go. And we should all be in this together, violence is too high in Chicago. It's gone down significantly, but it's still too high. It's too high in, probably almost every other major urban district, urban city in America, and we should be all in this together. And I do agree, our program is called Chicago Cred, Create Real Economic Destiny. I always say I'm trying to solve an economic problem, not a crime problem, where we can provide jobs, where we can create concrete hope, we can give people an alternative to the streets and a reason to put down the guns. I get to see that miraculous transformation every single day. That's the joy in the work I'm fortunate to do, privileged to do here in my hometown of Chicago.
And of course, Michael Bloomberg, the founder and majority owner of Bloomberg LP, was a founder. He still supports Everytown for gun safety, which advocates for gun safety measures. Are you hoping to see some of that advocacy at the convention this week? Are there policy initiatives you'd like to see talked about, put forward, aimed at gun violence, not just here in Chicago, but across the country?
Well, this is a national issue, and for me, it's a lot like COVID. It travels through social networks. I'm not safe if my neighbors aren't safe. And you actually heard President Biden talk about it, I thought, very eloquently last night. Yeah, assault weapons, those are good for wars and foreign soil, but who needs why is that needed here? That has nothing to do with the Second Amendment. And so there are lots of common sense things that we can do to make our communities, our schools, our churches, our synagogues safer. Democrats, frankly, are way ahead on that issue. Republicans have been in the pocket of the NRA, and that's led to a level of loss and heartbreak and destruction that is morally unfathomable to me. I can't understand how they can live with themselves knowing the risk and the fear that children across this country live with every single day because we as adults fail to do what other nations do just to keep our children safe and to let our kids be kids.